This month is 2 years since I was in my doctor's office getting the diagnosis. Now I have, 2 amazing babies, and, I'm just so happy, and I'm so grateful, and I'm so much kinder to myself, and I'm really proud of what I've been able to do. And I didn't know how much strength I had inside of me. From the moment I was in the doctor's office receiving my diagnosis, it just becomes like a march forward. Of course I had fears, I just didn't have time to let them surface. And it was just trying to figure out what I had to do next. There's a lot of things at the same time. How do I be there for my son? John's got to cancel some work, bring my mom out. Okay, I've got all this surgery. Wait, we want another kid. What happens if I can't carry? We have to do the double mastectomy first, and we have to do, they have to look at the tumors and see where all it's gone, and if anything has gone to my lymph nodes. And so there's all these unknowns, but I know where I want to go, and where I want to be is alive on the other side, healthy, energetic, with a baby on the way. And so I just focused on that and just kept moving forward. So after I have my double mastectomy, before I have more surgeries, there's a window where I can get out eggs and turn them into embryos. And it was important to do that at that moment, because I didn't know if I would be able to get eggs anymore. And it turns out I can't, because I've had to have an oophorectomy. But at that moment, it's also scary, because my type of cancer feeds on hormones. And in order to go through an IVF, you've got to, get a lot of hormone injections to turn your follicles in your ovaries into lots of eggs, as many as you can. And my doctor, Dr. Wong, he has a cancer protocol, so then we get less hormones, but it's still risky. And so we really wanted a girl. We wanted a baby girl. And he was like, we get one, and we call it a day. He's like, we'll get you the one baby girl embryo, and we'll be done, because it's just so risky to keep putting a breast cancer patient who has a hormone breast cancer into this protocol. So I remember we did our first round, and at my age, 1 out of every 10 eggs is going to be healthy. That's the average. And because we couldn't give me all the hormones, I was only able to make 7. So then I'm thinking, oh man, okay, now I'm 3 short, now I've only got 7. And so then out of those 7, 2 embryos were strong enough to get to the next stage, where now they're being tested for abnormalities and then the gender as well. And so I remember I was on a walk with John, and I said, I know Dr. Wong said we have to get 1 more, and then that's it. 1 girl, and then we call it. But I really don't think that I'll be okay unless we get 2 girl embryos, because I just want to know that we have the assurance that we'll be able to have our baby girl. And I know this puts me at risk, and I know that this is really scary, but I just need you to support me and believe me that this is what I need to do. And he said, whatever you need, I support you, and this is what we'll do. We'll do it until we get our 2 baby girl embryos. And that day, Dr. Wong called, and he said, we got our test results back, and it's the dream. He said, it's 2 baby girl embryos. And I was like, are they healthy? And he's like, and they're healthy. It was a sign for me that everything was gonna be okay. She is the squishiest, happiest, kind baby. She's just a really sweet soul. And, from the moment she came into the world, she was so observant. She was just looking around, and, I I had to use a surrogate because of everything I'd gone through with cancer, and I was really nervous about it. It's a whole process emotionally, and it's a process, an actual literal process, but the emotional process is such a journey. And I think the first thing I was worried about was, can I find somebody who will love and take care of my daughter as much as I would? Can I find someone who will nurture herself, and knowing that everything that she does and brings into her life will be directly fed into my daughter? There's all those feelings, and I'm just so grateful that we found the most amazing mother to want to do this for us. And then the other big concern I had was, will she know me? You know, a lot of people talk to you about when you're having, your child, they'll say, oh, they'll know your smell, they hear your voice, and I have to tell people a lot of times, like, but she hasn't heard my voice. She's heard the surrogate's voice, and she won't know my smell. She will know the surrogate smell. And so all those things that people will tell you about how your baby will bond with you didn't apply to me. And so I had a lot of fears and concerns and worries. And when she was born, she was crying, and I was the only one who could get her to be at peace and not to cry. And I immediately knew that she knew me and I knew her. And it was like everything that I needed, to know that we were going to be okay. It's funny because I was just loving how much John was loving how much Malcolm looks like him, and I just love that for him so much. And and people would say, oh, but I see him in you too. And I said, no, give it to John. Like, it's fine. I don't need that. And then when May was born, like, she's got this stick straight Asian hair like that I had. Her hair was going straight down like this. We can swoop it to the side, but it was going straight down. And my hair has exact same pattern when I was a baby. And I think especially because I wasn't able to carry her, I really needed to see myself in her. And we have the same shaped lip, and I see myself in her so much. And she is such a chunky baby. And I was a really chunky baby. And I had to eat so much. If anybody was eating anything, I'd be calling out for it. May loves eating so much. If you're eating, the other day we were giving her yummy applesauce and sweet potatoes that's pureed, and she like purses her lips, like won't eat it because she sees us eating pancakes. So I'm like, I think she wants this. And like, no, she's not hungry anymore. No, I think she wants, so we give her a little pancake, she opens her mouth. Her favorite food is pad thai. She's 8 months old because she sees me eating it and then she eats it. I mean, she's like, so I'm like, oh, so when I see those moments, it does make me feel like, oh, this is such an amazing, sweet feeling. I know what John was feeling when he saw Malcolm, and I carried Malcolm, and so I have that other connection. And so John was able to get his external connection, and now I have that with May. We're still talking if we're done, growing our family. 2 is a lot. I was one of 5 kids. I don't know how my mom did it. Everything is very funny to me now. Like, I don't really take a lot that seriously anymore. It's just the things that kids say are so funny. He said, Mama, I love you a little bit. And I said, okay. And he goes, but you love me so much. And I said, yeah, that's true. And he goes, but I only love you a little bit. And I said, okay. And he goes, but do you still love me so much? I go, I'll always love you so much, no matter how much you love me. And so he says like the silliest things. I mean, look, when he's throwing a tantrum and it's really hard, those are times where it's hard. I'm not pretending that everything is funny. But I would say 95% of the time, like, John was just like yesterday. He was trying to discipline Malcolm. He was like, hey, Malcolm. And he looks at him, he's going, go. Because I'm just laughing, like tears are coming in my eyes. He's like, and John's like, Malcolm, listen, get out of here. Malcolm, you're not allowed to. It's like constantly telling me to leave. John's the disciplinarian, if you can't tell. I really had no idea what kind of a father he would be, what kind of a friend he would be to me. The day Malcolm was born, just like his whole world just lit up. And he is my best friend, the most fun person, the person I want to talk to about everything, the person I want to vent to about everything, even if it's about him. He's just such a good human being, a good person, and he takes being a father so incredibly serious. He knows how lucky he is to have these children in his life, and he knows how lucky these children are to have him as their father. And it's a really important distinction, because he has a lot of pride in that, and he knows that he brings a lot to our family. Something somebody said to me once, that obviously you don't know if it's true, but it really applies to us and our family. They said, the first child will look like whichever parent needed them the most. And Malcolm looks just like John. And you're like, and he just changed his whole little life. Just as I came out of postpartum and I was like, oh wow, it's lifted and I feel better and I'm doing great, I get the cancer diagnosis. And there's a whole other perspective, because before I'm struggling in life with postpartum, and now I'm so desperate to stay alive and be here and be happy with my family and have the energy. And so that's when I started thinking for the first time, maybe I need to be behind the camera. Not that it's not also a hard work, producing or editing or, writing. It's a lot of work, but putting myself in front of the camera, I think I felt a lot more vulnerable, and I just wanted to kind of protect myself from that. And I made a very strong decision that I was not going to act anymore. I thought this is what's best for me, and although I loved the stuff I was doing, nothing I could think of that I had worked on in the past, 5-6 years felt like it was worth me taking time away from my family and my kids. And then one day my agent calls me. She says, look, I know that you told us not to put you up for anything, but we haven't put you up for anything. But I have, a duty to let you know when there's an offer that has come through. And she's like, so just hear me out. And she said, it's Jonathan Chopper created this show. John Hamm is starring and executive producing. Craig Gillespie is directing it. I thought, oh, and as soon as she said all that, I go, I know I'm going to take it. I know I'm going to take it. And then I read the first script, and then I had a phone call with Jonathan Chopper, and he told me where my character would be going that in the first season and what the world was like. And I accepted, and then I told John I accepted a job. My husband was just murdered in the foyer of our house, which is now a crime scene, which is why I'm staying at a hotel, which is why I need new products, which is why, as you so acutely observed, I might be in dire need of retinal eye patches. When I told him I was taking it, he was just so happy that I just had this I don't know, burst of energy around me, and I had gone through, and I had one more surgery to do, but by that point we knew that May was on her way, and there's just such a lightness and a happiness in our family and our home and in my heart, and I just felt like I was ready to let go of the fears and worries that I had, and I want to just kind of keep going and take opportunities that were coming my way. So the scars, I did not expect them to be as significant as they are. I don't even know what I was thinking. I thought that they would just, I didn't realize for a double mastectomy it would just be such, the scars go from the sides and all the way around, and then I also have on the front, right around here, there's some tumors that had to be kind of dug out more, and so there's these it's like concaved in there and like little kind of dents there, and those had actually bothered me a little bit more than the scars, because the scars kind of be hidden, but that, like, if I wear a tank top or something, they're kind of right there. And then not to go through every scar, but then I had my lymph node dissection, And I've had other friends who had breast cancer, and I'm like, where is your scar for the lymph node dissection? They go, oh, it's in the armpit. I'm like, well, mine's right here. You can see it. So it looks like there's like a fold on my skin there. And so I did have a lot of, I had a lot of insecurity about it. And then I filmed the first season of Your Friends and Neighbors last like April through September. And there is a lot of intimate scenes in that show. And Jonathan Tropper, our creator, was like, look, we're gonna do whatever you feel comfortable with. And we had this amazing intimacy coordinator, her name's Lizzie. So we want it to be as believable as possible. And that would mean there being, you know, some nudity. And you know, my character on the show does not have breast cancer. So having massive scars wouldn't work. But just Lizzie, the intimacy coordinator, was really helping me with just the positioning of just where my arm would be and things like that. And that's how we got through it. There was just like so much kindness towards me, and that really meant a lot. And so we stopped filming in September, and then October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And Skims and Susan G. Komen, they wanted to do this campaign for breast cancer awareness. The campaign was, they were selling bras to donate half of all bras sold that month to breast cancer research. And while I was on set, we were doing something with some shapewear, and maybe one of the bras was going to show a scar or something like that. And my makeup artist was starting to touch up, but it was just getting hard because they're kind of, the scars are like a little bit more purpley and like red. And if you have scars, you know what I'm talking about. And so I was just looking in the mirror, and I was thinking about how insecure I had been for quite some time about them. And I just thought, you know what, like I'm done. I don't want to be insecure about this anymore. I can't, like, I'm gonna like carry this for the rest of my life feeling so insecure about this. And I'm like, man, like having these scars means that I battled and I won. Like, this is just proof of how hard I fought. Like, this is proof that I'm still here. And I was like, you know what, I called the Skims people into the dressing room, and I said, this is my idea. How do you feel about this? I know that's not what your campaign's about, but what do you think? And they're so wonderful. And they went off and talked, and they came back and they said, if we would love to do that, but we just want to make sure this is something you're comfortable with. And I said, look, if there are other women out there who have this same scar and see me with it and feel comforted, then it will heal me just as much as it may help them. And we got out there and we did it, and it was like an armor came off. I was like, and you know, like that holding this like shield up of, you know, I didn't realize was so heavy. There's so many women I have met who have taken the lifetime risk assessment test or heard my story and then found out they have cancer, and some of them are in their 20s. I mean, every time I go out, every single time I go out, there's at least one person, whether it's the woman at the cash register or someone. I was, you know, leaving a store the other day, and this woman runs out after me. She's got 3 children with her, and she's young. She's like 28, and she's got her 3 kids, and she stops me to say that because of my story, she took the test, went in, and now she found out that she has stage 0 breast cancer, which is at the very initial stage, but she's so young with her three kids. And we both just had this moment of like, I know what you're going through, but God, we're so excited that we found it. You know, it's a weird thing to be excited that you're like, but we found it. The amount of people that have heard the story and have connected back to me has been truly incredible, and it's so healing for all of us. There's a common bond that we all have now, and that's the whole purpose of me talking about this a year ago, was that I wanted every woman to know about the lifetime risk assessment test. Early detection is what saves lives. It's people say that a lot, but it's true. Like I have multifocal, multi-quadrant bilateral breast cancer, but it's stage 1. And that means it's already become invasive, but it's stage 1. And that is the difference between life and death sometimes. I didn't realize how hard I had been on myself or most of my life until I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Because when I got the diagnosis, my brain couldn't think about anything else. It just had to survive. Like, I knew my son was okay, he's with his dad. It literally is like a tunnel vision, because the only way for me to be there for my son is to get out of this alive. So everything focused in on getting through this battle and how many battles I would have to face before I could win the war. And it's literally just that. And when I was facing a life of tunnel vision, I didn't have time for any of the worry or the doubt or the regret or any of that emotional baggage I was carrying unknowingly throughout my entire life. And I think because it's been so much to handle and it's all been back to back, everything feels light and airy to me. I go into life now, in every situation, I just feel more at peace and I feel happier. And I think sometimes I used to look at things too black and white and probably look at people too black and white. And I definitely see much more of the gray in the world in a much more beautiful way, like understanding there's a lot of grace that, you know, I hope people give me and that I will always give to people, especially now going in, you know, through the rest of my life. And I looking back, I think that, you know, I always tried to be the best person I could be. And of course, we're all tripping up as we grow up. And now on this other side, I just feel like everything feels easy in a way. Like if I can just get through this and I can stay happy and healthy, then like I just want to sail into the rest of my life.